What's up, world? Welcome back to another episode of What You Need to Know. My name is Brian D. Exclusive, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming crusade that seems to be inevitable. Charlie Kirk's passing started a Christian revolution. Yesterday, I went over how all over the world we're starting to see a mass uptick of Christianity. Churches all over the country seeing record number of attendees. It seems like the spirit has been called forward and the beginning of a new era has begun. A new crusade might have to happen depending on how the Islamists and the Israelis decide to react to us. So, to start the show, what I want to do is cover a clip from J.D. Vance's speech that he gave on Charlie Kirk's show, which, if you haven't seen, you definitely should. I actually would recommend maybe watching it a couple times so that way the emotional parts don't go too far on one side, depending on where your mind was at when you first heard him speak. But this clip, it's about a minute and 30 seconds, is specifically about how we should be feeling about people that are totally intolerant towards us. And the reason I want to play this first is I think it's a very accurate representation of where the majority of Americans are. And I don't know if this is the best thing for America for us to be feeling this way. But I know the day that this happened, I was very emotional. Many people were very emotional. So let's check this out.
With people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree. Did you know that the George Soros Open Society Foundation and the Ford Foundation, the groups who funded that disgusting article justifying Charlie's death, do you know they benefit from generous tax treatment? They are literally subsidized by you and me, the American taxpayer. And how do they reward us? By setting fire to the house built by the American family over 250 years. I am desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I will tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable, and when we work to dismantle the institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country.
Now, that was extremely well said. I'm going to go back to what I've said in a couple videos now. We need to start separating these radicals from traditional Democrats. These are not the same people. This is not the same conversations that used to happen a couple decades ago in our country. These radicals have no intention on living peacefully among us. They are intent on destroying this country. They hate this country. They're convinced that we are the problem. We are colonizers. We are oppressors. We have this white privilege. We have this male dominance. We're toxic. They love to throw out any terminology they can to try to other us. And as long as they are radically against America, then there is no working with them. As long as they are using our laws and our freedoms against us as leverage to remove those laws and those freedoms, then we cannot work with them. If you do not believe in free speech, then you should be automatically forfeit the right to speak in public. That should be the result. It shouldn't be you changing my ability. If you don't like free speech, then don't speak. If you think that you can talk bad about the First Amendment, I think that that is the only thing in our Constitution that maybe should be adjusted right now. If you are against the Constitution, then you are not protected by the Constitution. It should be a form of treason. Now, the internet has been going absolutely wild, especially after Candace Owens went live last night talking about Charlie Kirk's change of heart. Now, if we go back to the first video I made about him passing, I covered a very similar topic. I went over a bunch of videos showing how in the last couple of weeks he has had this change of heart towards the Israeli government. And he had been attacked relentlessly, called an anti-Semite from people that he had been close with, people that had donated a lot of money to him. Candace Owens even alluded that there was a passive-aggressive threat put on him when asking him to go to Israel and speak about his refusal to accept the large bribe of, I think it was $100 million or $150 million for TPUSA. Well, I just wanted to play another clip of Charlie talking about this situation because there's no better person than to hear it out of the horse's mouth. So let's check this out.
This is the closest thing to the Holocaust any of us have lived through. But the fact is now Bibi and the Israeli hard-right government has a mandate. I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people, okay? And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally crap after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the street.
And that is exactly it. The Islamists are evil. Don't get me wrong. The way that they enforce Sharia law, the way that they treat their women and put them in cages in the middle of the public to be auctioned off as slaves and everything about it, that does not excuse Israel attacking women and attacking children, especially them attacking children. Maybe you could have an argument that they have military women that are, I don't know. I don't agree with it. I'm just saying maybe there's an argument for these adult women that are being attacked in military situations. All the feminists always fight for female army rights, but children have no place being murdered in the street, just blown up while walking to and from school and all of the things that happen. I'm very much against the Islamic takeover. I think it's a huge threat, one of the biggest threats. But the reason there's a Christian resurgence is because we're being attacked from both the Islamists and the Israelis. This is the Middle Eastern threat. Now here's a clip from Candace yesterday where she was kind of talking about Charlie's change of heart. If you haven't seen it, you 100% should go watch it after you're done with this video. But this really is telling of the situation of where Charlie was and how he was feeling. Check this out.
I know that Charlie was offered a ton of money in this moment. A ton of money. Bibi would fund it, you know? And I know for a fact that Charlie denied that funding. That Charlie denied, and what Bibi didn't include there, he declined to go to Israel for, I would describe this as like, you know, re-education camp, you know. We've seen it. We just need you to come out to Auschwitz and take a picture. Yeah. We just need you to come to the Holocaust Museum and take a photo. We just need you to go to Israel. Charlie said no to Bibi.
Now, here's the thing. There are multiple examples of the Israeli government being involved in malicious attacks against the U.S. government. There has been countless situations. Now, the most famous one that everybody's aware of and almost the most lighthearted at this point, even though it really isn't lighthearted at all, but President Kennedy, who had spoke out relentlessly against the deep state and everything that was happening. It's largely believed that he was taken out by the Israeli government. And I just want to play one of the most famous clips from JFK because I think that Charlie Kirk and JFK really need to be held in a very similar conversation at this point. Check this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit, to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my
ADL.
administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help.
Now, that speech given from a president is one of the most powerful things that has happened in our country, and it has been pivotal in the reason that we have had so many people awaken to the threat that comes from the Israeli government. But we also have modern day leftists who have had a lot of conversations with people from Israel that are way more open with them than they would be if they were speaking with somebody on the right. Like I've shown in many videos, a lot of these people, the Middle Eastern threat, are afraid of Republicans because they know we think principally and we stand on our values. But this video right here, coming from the Young Turks, the Israelis are saying more than what you would really expect them to say on a live broadcast. Let's check this out.
One who gets in the way. It doesn't matter where they are. Even if they are politicians in the West, they are going to fall. And I said this previously.
Hold on, did you hear what he just said? And remember, he's an Israeli agent. Are you saying Israel will murder politicians in the West? What do you mean the politicians in the West will fall?
Yeah, we will not vote for them anymore.
Oh, no, well, you don't vote for them now. You're not in our country.
We have the right to bring them up and to bring them down.
Who is we, and how are you bringing down politicians in the West if they dare to defy Israel?
I mean, it definitely makes you ask some questions. Now that Charlie Kirk has inspired this gigantic religious reawakening, and all over the world we're starting to see this huge uptick of Christianity, I'm starting to now see a bunch of videos showing Christians being attacked all over the place. It's crazy. This one's out of Egypt, and it's just unbelievable that we're living in a world where this is still happening. Look at this.
شيل بسرعة زمان يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا ماما يا ماما
So crazy.
قومي جدع قومي بالك شايفين عملوا فينا ايه شايفين بدلوا بيتنا كل بدلوا بيتنا كل حاجتنا ده لازم يتوثق.
We also have videos coming straight out of Israel where we can see these Israelis specific, and I apologize if you can hear the dogs, there's some commotion happening outside, but where you can see these Israelis specifically going off on American journalists asking questions, saying the most repugnant things. Look at this.
That is the godly thing to do. We respect one another.
The godly thing to do is to kill you.
The godly thing is to kill me.
That's right.
Yes?
That's what the Torah says.
The Torah says to kill us.
The Torah says that people who worship idols such as yourself, when there is a Sanhedrin,
To kill us.
yes,
Okay.
that's what the Torah
So
says.
we know how the Jewish people feel about Christians, yes? That you discriminate against Christians.
Christians are idol
You
worshippers.
discriminate
The
against
Torah
Christians.
says that Christianity is idol worship.
Let me
It's crazy. Here in New York, you can see that the Israelis and the Islamists are starting to get a lot of attention. This specifically are New Yorkers being fed up with seeing the Islamists waving their flags and taking over the streets and really trying to do to us what's starting to happen in Europe. And I'm glad to see that people are really fighting against this early. Check this out. Even Joe Rogan is saying that one of the biggest threats to our country right now is an Islamic takeover.
Worst case scenario is a state adopts Sharia law. This is worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And I think all these people that would cry against the concept of Islamophobia really need to understand what that means and what you're talking about. And to say that that's an outrageous and ridiculous idea that's never going to take place, it's kind of already worked its way into some societies.
It has.
It has.
It has.
And there are, is it Minnesota that has call to prayer? Like, is it Minneapolis?
I don't know where. I know there is a place in Minnesota, I believe, where they have prayer calls as a matter of local government. I do think that's happening.
That starts getting real weird.
Yeah. Well,
Stuff like that starts getting real weird. And when you have people that are openly saying our goal is, and they've talked about this in Toronto, like activists have said, our goal is to outbreed everyone who is not Muslim and vote it out and put Sharia law in place.
Yeah.
And you know that when Joe starts to catch wind of something, that it's about to become one of the most mainstream topics. But this attack on Christians isn't just seeing people in Egypt getting attacked, and it's not just seeing that the most prominent influencers in our communities are catching wind of the fact that there are crazy things happening. We are also now starting to see Catholic churches getting burned in France because Islamists are just hell-bent on destroying everything. I mean, it was just a few days ago when I said that I was predicting we're going to start seeing these beautiful buildings getting tore down and destroyed in Europe. And I got backlash from that. On some of my clips, people were like, oh, it's not going to happen. We want to let that happen. Well, look at this. I have videos coming out of the Middle East with Syrian Islamists going village to village, destroying Christian homes. I have videos of the women being held in cages in the middle of an auction where people are videotaping them, and it's crazy. Look at this. How is this happening in another As much as the left loves to talk about Handmaid's Tale, it's insane that the left supports this because they're going to create a real life version of Handmaid's Tale right here in America. So here I have a video of an activist. It's a very, very short clip, but it's this woman complaining about how she's being treated in Egypt trying to get over to Gaza. And then there's a short little clip following it with a female influencer talking about how it's absurd and basically what would you expect going over there? And what do you think it's going to be like when you get to Gaza? Look at this.
This is an emergency. We have just been violently dragged into the buses here at the first checkpoint on the way to Ismailia. We have...
Oh, you don't like how the Egyptians are treating you? Well, let me tell you how you're going to be treated when you actually get to Gaza.
Yeah, they're going to beat you, they're going to rape you, they're going to do everything they can to dehumanize you and destroy your dignity. That's what they're going to do, I promise that. In Europe, they have their students being forced to go to Islamic mosques and learn about their culture because they're trying to normalize it. Remember those videos about propaganda and the slow incremental introductions to things? This is that. Check it out. And I always hear leftists saying that it's a choice for women to wear the burqa, and it's not how the right tries to make it out to be. We're just totally unaware of the culture. Well, I want you to see the current state of it, because it's actually getting worse and worse as time goes on. Check this out.
How helpless are women in Afghanistan? The Taliban's new rules have stripped them of almost all their freedom. They are not allowed to speak in public. Even conversations with female friends must be whispered. They can only leave home with a male guardian and must be completely covered in heavy burqas, with not a single strand of hair visible. Even female news anchors on TV are required to wear masks and headscarves. They are banned from education beyond primary school and cannot work in non-governmental organizations. Worse yet, if they fall ill, they cannot be treated by male doctors, and female doctors are extremely rare, meaning many women are left without medical care. Even access to public restrooms is restricted, and their home windows must be opaque, so outsiders cannot see that women live there. Afghanistan was once a place where women could study, work, and enjoy freedom. But now, the only glimpse they have of the world is through the mesh of their burqas.
So crazy. Well, to end the show today, because I actually have way more clips to go through than I initially realized, but, you know, I think it would actually make more sense for some of these to be put into a separate video. That said, to end the clip, I want to show how Charlie Kirk has truly inspired the entire globe. I think to me, this is the most important part about Charlie's memory and legacy, is that it's so much bigger than just America. And it's because he was right. He has this famous quote where he had said, I'm going to paraphrase, that the world, to change the world, it starts with America. We are the most influential country. And you can see that because here there's a revolution starting in the UK, and it's got so much more power and momentum now that Charlie has become a martyr for Christians and free speech. So I just want to end the show on an uplifting, hopeful message that we have a chance to save this country, we have a chance to save this world, and we have a chance to save the future generations from a totalitarian takeover. So check this out.
And to what level are you willing to fight to get your guys' freedom of speech?
To death! To death! I will die for freedom of speech. I've already proved this. I've been to Afghanistan. I was in Afghanistan in 2012, fighting a war for the British Empire. I witnessed my friends die for this land. Never mind your ancestors dying in World War II. I witnessed my friends die for this green and pleasant land. And we are here to take it back.
And how did you guys get to the point where you cannot even say certain things on social media without being arrested? 30 people a day get arrested here.
Charlie Kirk's death. If that wasn't something, I don't know what is. Charlie Kirk's death. He says, how did we get to the point? That's the point. But it's been a build-up for years and years and years.
And if people like you don't speak up, if there aren't millions, there's millions of people here.
Speaking up is nothing now. We've gone beyond speaking up. We are here now, we are here with force. And never mind speech.
And now
we are here with force. Now actions. They shot Charlie Kirk. They shot Charlie Kirk. Where are our actions? Where do we draw the line on free speech? Free speech is bullshit. We need to draw the line. There are basic human moralities. Male are males, female are females. That's where we draw the line.
The world has had enough. You elitists have pushed too far. You leftists have really overplayed your hand. And as true patriotic Americans and as true patriots of each individual country who is not afraid to represent their nationalistic identity, we speak up and we say, we are Charlie Kirk. If you enjoy my content, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on all the social media platforms at Brian D Exclusive. If you want to support me, in the description I have a few links for Discord, Patreon, things like that. Go ahead, join, become a part of the community. It's growing really fast, and it's been a huge blessing to see everything happen the way that it's been happening since Charlie's death. I was very worried that we were just going to see violence or chaos, but we have proven once again that we are the party of common sense and that we are not going to stop until we get basic human rights. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.